with like cordless mouses in the classrooms, not working because no one bothers to like replace the batteries?
Probably.
Yeah, you think they do?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. When they do have a problem with it, do you think it gets addressed and fixed?
No.
Really? Harvard Law?
Yeah.
Huh. I feel sad for Harvard Law.
That's something that will happen basically anywhere where you have
Okay.
you need tech support.
Well, yeah, because I just talked to this tech support person in the hall. He's in a cast. I know, sucks for him, but it's kind of appropriate.
Quick question.
Hmm.
Did you change textbooks from last semester?
Did I? I don't think so. Why?
I was gonna buy the textbook.
Were you here on Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna buy the textbook from one of my friends who had you last semester.
Okay.
And it was
What kind of deal are they offering?
He's gonna give it to me for $5, but
You might be able to get them down to like 4.
I mean it's not the same book, so.
What do you mean it's not the same book? What are you talking
The
about?
book that you had listed.
Look at this cornucopia of books that I came. It's like I'm psychic.
It wasn't any of those.
I'm just talking about myself now.
No.
It's like I'm psychic. How did I know? This was going to be the very first question I was going to get. Look at the answer I'm equipped with. So, your friend, who we're trying to get down to $4, maybe $3, maybe a penny. Which edition? Well, first of all, does your textbook look like that?
No. It was a completely
Look
different.
like that?
It was a completely different textbook. It was like a 9th edition textbook.
Okay, so let's define completely different. Is it a different author?
Yes. Pretty sure.
So here's your real questions. Can I get by in your class with a textbook that matches what's listed on your syllabus in no fucking way at all?
I wasn't asking if I should get the book.
No, that's your real question. That's your question. Because I got this $5 option. But the thing is, it's not, and we could start with like the fun stuff. The ISBN doesn't exactly match. It's not exactly the edition. The cover doesn't exactly like look like what, it's not the same title. Oh, actually, it's not even the same fucking author. Is it the same, is it like a math textbook?
It's an English textbook.
Oh, so it's
a
an
technical
English.
writing textbook. But
Okay, so basically you're saying, can I pick any fucking random technical writing textbook and it'll work for this class?
Not what I'm saying at all. I was just asking.
That's what my question would be. Because if the answer is sure, then that's a leading indicator for what class experience you're gonna get, right? I mean, literally, you walk into a class and your first question is, can I just fucking buy any class? I mean, I don't know, this is how many people are like an engineer or, is there anybody who's majoring in chemistry?
Minoring.
Minoring in chemistry, you're gonna have to take organic chemistry?
Yeah, I took it.
Oh, you already took it?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that textbook expensive?
Yeah.
Fuck right, it was expensive. Yeah. Those are expensive textbooks, right? What was it, 150?
Like 200 something.
Oh, 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, first day, no, second day, like first day, like, did you get like the whole syllabus spiel? Well, you know, right. So then you went off and looked for the textbook and you were like, Jesus fucking Christ, $250, really? So you got a friend who took organic chemistry at a different college 10 years ago. Obviously looking to unload their like textbook for like $5 maybe. Maybe you can get them down to 4 or 2. So here's the thing. You walk into class the second day and you're like, I have a question. Can I just grab any fucking random organic chemistry textbook that someone used sometime, somewhere. Sure. Okay, first of all, nice cost savings. Second of all, what does that tell you about the person who's probably teaching that organic chemistry class?
Hasn't really updated his content.
Or doesn't give a fuck? Either one, either one. Is it gonna be an easy class to pass?
Yeah, that's it.
Or maybe not. Because here's the thing about like having an instructor that has gotten to the point where they don't look both ways before they walk into traffic. Maybe they're just gonna fail everybody, because that would be funny. Or maybe everybody gets an A+ regardless, who knows? Who knows? But to get back to your original question, sure, I don't fucking care. Do whatever you want.
I was just asking if you changed, that's all I wanted to know.
What do you mean if I had changed? How could you figure that out? Did I teach that class that they took?
Yeah. Shannon did.
Was it this class?
Yeah, as far as I know, that's what she said.
Your friend is a liar. Does your friend have like a facial recognition problem
Maybe,
that you know of?
maybe.
You know, Brad Pitt does.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Like he cannot spot people in a crowd. Yeah.
That's something new every day.
Yeah. It's an aphasia thing. Like he wakes up every morning, I bet he still thinks that he's with, Friend's chick. What's her name?
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Jennifer.
She looks the same as she did 20 years ago.
Until she, until Angelique, no, I'm Angelique. Oh, yay. But yeah, so your friend might have that problem. Because no, I have not changed a textbook like ever
Okay.
since I was required to actually have required textbook. And here's the deeper thing. Have you looked at, of course, it doesn't work. Thanks, Brandon. Oh, no, not that. Probably looked at that. Have you looked at this? If you could read the whole fucking thing on the screen. Have you looked at this? You can use the hypothetical situation described in exercise number 2 on page 126. If you have some random textbook, or I don't know, the dictionary, is that direction gonna happen? So that's not an option for you. Right.
Right.
So do you want that to be an option for you?
Yeah,
Okay, then buy the textbook.
that's what I plan on doing.
Okay, keep your receipt, scan some pages, take a picture, whatever the fuck, I don't care. Photocopy it if you want to go old school, and then return it. Do that. Might have helped you with the memo project. It's got some examples of like what a memo looks like.
Okay.
Or you could just do a random Google search and see how that works out for you.
That's what we did.
Right, so the thing is that this matches up with the textbook that I officially have listed with the proper ISBN, I think, maybe, or at least 4th edition and Intel on the syllabus. But you have other options to get close-ish to that if you want to pay more or radically less. Or you can just like, I don't know, come to class equipped with an organic chemistry textbook. Sure. Let your conscience be your guide on that. Is that helpful?
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part. At least entertaining, hopefully. Should
Very
buy a
long
lottery
winded.
ticket today. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm here for 80 minutes and I'm already bored, so. So again, here's the thing. And you know how we got to, so one of the reasons why I was long-winded is because your question was obtuse, right? Because here was the question that you really had. Do I need to buy the textbook that you listed? Was that your question?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I mean, I would like,
What's your real question?
I was just trying to figure out why she had a different textbook other than.
Why the fuck do I care why she had a different textbook?
That's what I was asking.
Well, I'm
I
just
was
saying.
asking for my own personal reasons.
Okay, if I were you, here's what I would be on task with asking. Do I need to buy the textbook?
Which the answer I already
Is
knew
no.
is yes.
Is no. No, you don't,
Okay, well-
unless you think you need to.
I will rent the textbook because it's a cheaper option and I don't have to worry about.
Okay, so let's ask a question. Ask a question about renting that's focused.
I don't have. I've done it before. I don't have to.
Do I need to rent the textbook?
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
But I'm going to.
Okay. Again, that's where it's the deeper question of, can I if I want to? I don't care. Knock yourself out.
Gotcha.
Okay. See how short that was? So here's the thing about getting useful information out of me. Camera, deposition, hostile witness, congressional subcommittee. Okay? And you're dealing with a witness that, how many people have seen C-SPAN or know that it exists? How many people know what I'm talking about when I say C-SPAN? How many people have ever seen Fox News or whatever news you watch that features a little snippet of blah, 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 testifying in front of Congress, blah, 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 blah? How many people have seen that? Okay. A couple non-voters, but that's typical for, again, a news-watching audience, sadly. Okay, so, but at least more than half the room. Okay, so at least more than half the room will get this joke. So, in those snippets, or snippet that you've seen, was the witness looking like this? Or was the witness looking like this? Ask away, Mr. Senator. If this is the body language, they probably don't care. Congress ain't going to do anything to them. So that means you're going to have to ask more penetrating, focused questions to get any useful information out of them. Because they're under oath. They're not going to lie, or else they go to jail. They probably still care about that. But beyond that, they don't care. So, you've done was it 2 or 3 things that I asked folks to do before this meeting? You've got the email. I don't know. 2, 3, 2, 3. See how complex things get? Who's got the email in front of them? The body paragraphs start with bold, not bold, capital letters. First, second. Is there a third?
Well, there's a final.
If you weren't.
If you
So,
weren't-
2 or 3. Now, see? Now, deposition. That depends on what the definition of is.
Sure.
Forget that joke. You're a news junkie. From back when you were probably in the womb. Okay, so you've done those 2 or 3 steps. So, okay, you're prepared for the meeting. I'm at the meeting, I'm prepared. I've done those steps too. Here's the goal. We want to get through at least immediately the first project in this course with a minimum of time and effort. That's what I would like to do. That's hopefully what you would like to do. So, what can I help you with on that? Yes, question.
About the project. Basically, I took a look at it. My question would be, it was more personal.
Would
but
be? Your question is?
Quickly, my question is,
Uh-huh.
what would be a good source or a good start? I've already started to Google it, but I was looking for a way that I could find Texas Tech budget as far as what they spend as far as like.
Okay, you're asking an obtuse question. Let's get to the point. Who's your audience? Who are you writing to for this hypothetical exercise?
I'll probably be writing to the chancellor.
Probably.
No, I will be writing to the chancellor.
Okay, so I'm writing to the Chancellor of Texas Tech.
Yes. and
What's
I need to know-
are you writing a letter or a memo?
Memo.
Why a memo?
Oh, I'm sorry, it would be a letter. Yes, I will be writing.
Why a letter?
Because Actually, that's probably what I'm better at. Right? I think I could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you work for Texas Tech?
I do not.
Okay. So like when you write to a newspaper
Mhm.
because you're kind of pissed off at like something that they wrote, do you write a memo to the editor or do you write a letter to the editor?
You write a letter.
Because you don't work for the newspaper,
Right.
right? If you work for the newspaper and you were kind of pissed off at something that happened in the newspaper, like something they wrote in the newspaper, would you write a letter or a memo?
Probably.
Because you work in that newspaper, right? So it'd probably be more appropriate in this hypothetical situation if you're imagining that you're you, which
Right.
you have to. You're not imagining that you're someone else.
Mhm.
You're who you are. Then, okay, Chancellor of Texas Tech, it would probably make a lot more sense to write a letter than a memo. Okay. And what's the goal? What are you trying to get? Who is the Chancellor of Texas Tech? You might want to get clear on that. Because if you say to whom it may concern, their first reaction is probably going to be, you couldn't even figure out my name.
Yeah, chat just came.
Right. Hands?
Is
You
it?
sure about that?
Right, he did time, so it's.
Yeah, so if you write to the new current and like you're writing to the old, your shit is not going to get responded to.
Right.
So that's going to require a little bit of research.
Did all the research with the basics.
Probably a 2-minute Google search will fix that for you. And what's the goal? What are you trying to get this unnamed, who knows who the current chancellor, what are you trying to get him to do?
Well, I had a couple ideas. That's what I wanted to run by you. I didn't know. if it was
Okay,
like
which idea is the least work for you?
The least work.
Yeah, because that's the practical goal, right? A lot of work for this project?
Oh, the least work.
A
No,
little
they're
bit of work
pretty-
for this
they're pretty
project.
in-depth. I like in-depth work, so that's just who I am. I like to research.
So you're choosing, I want to spend more time and effort on this project than is necessary.
Well, I have nothing to do at work, so it gives me like free time.
Oh, okay. Okay, so,
I literally
okay,
sit on the
fine.
computer.
So that's important for me to know. So
Mhm.
you other folks, keep that in mind with the answer. This is an unusual person. So what's your goal? What are you trying to get them, pick one.
Well, basically, I just wanted to know where I could find how do they spend their budget when it comes.
What's
to,
the goal? What do you want to get them to do?
I want them to spend more in the diverse groups,
So you want them to spend money on a particular initiative.
right? Which is to aid more in the diversity of certain
Yeah,
groups.
whatever the initiative is.
Okay.
You want them to spend money on something,
Right.
okay? What's the benefit to them? What's that going to do for them? How's that going to help the, like, chancellor, blah, blah, blah?
Well, bringing in probably more diversified students.
How is that going to help them?
And I haven't researched it.
How is that
Ideal.
going to, let's assume it's Chancellor Hans. This is
Right.
still Chancellor, just because I know his name.
Right.
Okay, hey, Chancellor Hans, if you spend more money on such and such a project, that would be a good idea for you because it will help you fill in the blank. What's it going to do for them personally, professionally?
Professionally.
How's it going to make their job easier or more successful?
That's a good question, actually.
If you don't answer that question, they're not going to do it,
Right.
right?
Right. Okay.
So that's a fundamental question.
Right. Well,
How the fuck is this going to help you personally? If I don't answer that question, it's going to, yeah, you're wasting my time. How's about this? Chancellor Hans. Let's imagine that, I don't know, I would be shocked if this were the case, actually. But let's imagine that he just left the Texas Tech chancellorship to be chancellor of Harvard Business School. Chancellor of Texas Tech, Chancellor of Harvard Business School. How did he parlay that? Maybe through really good publicity, right?
Right.
So,
I get what you're saying.
right, now you're getting at it. Okay, so if I want to convince Chancellor Hance that investing in more money, convincing other people at Texas Tech to spend more money on this particular program
Right.
will help them get more publicity, then what research do I need to do? Find an example of another college, university, whatever the fuck, that had a successful program like this and they got a story in the New York Times or something like that.
Wow.
And there you go. And then it kind of writes itself.
It is.
There you go. Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, I had another one to click back off you, but I'll
Okay,
email
sure,
that one
sure,
to
sure, sure.
give somebody else a chance.
Don't email me.
Don't email you.
We're here in the room. Why
Well, I
would
didn't know
you
if
need that?
anybody else had a,
Okay, so
Okay.
that's great. You're taking your turn. Anybody else have a question? Yeah, question.
So, the problem solving, you know, that's
That.
what it's called. I'm just making sure it's what it's called, yes. Can it be like?
Problem solving memo or letter due
Or
February
letter.
9th, yes. Yeah.
Can it be something that you have a complaint about, like the way they treat customers or the way they treat
Sure.
their employees and address it?
Who's
that way?
they? Who's your audience? Who are you writing to or thinking about writing to?
The owners of Chicken Express.
Okay,
To be very specific.
yeah. You're going to need to be that specific. Who are the owners of Chicken Express?
Robert and Stacy Coleman.
Okay, cool. Do you work there?
I used
Do you work there currently? Okay, so are you going to write a letter or a memo?
a letter.
Okay, yeah, that probably makes sense. And I won't revisit that, but hopefully folks had started intuiting that. And what are you trying to convince them to do or think about doing? First of all, what's an easier goal? To get Chancellor Hance to like definitely invest extra money in this initiative, or just to get them to think about it?
Good, yeah, good to think about it.
Okay, so, I mean, obviously you're gonna choose the harder goal, but if you wanted to make the project easier, you would say, I'm hopefully going to convince you to think about blah, 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 blah,
Right.
right? So do you want to convince them to think about doing something, or to definitely do something? Think about, definitely do.
I would prefer them to definitely do it.
What do you want to do for this project? Think
Got
about?
it?
Okay, so you're
Like,
motivated by
that's
making the
like-
project easier, because what's an easier goal?
Think about it.
Okay, so what are you gonna get them to hopefully think about doing?
Treat their bad saying this out loud to everyone. But
Well, I mean, you're gonna be writing it to the owner of Chicken Express, so be loud and proud about it.
to think about treating their employees
Better,
better and fairly,
okay.
and giving them just
And what's your
punishment.
question for me?
Is that an appropriate thing to
Sure.
for this project?
It has a clear audience and a clear goal. Sure. Because look at how I'm going to evaluate. Look at how I'm going to evaluate it.
Such a move.
Hey, it fits on the fucking screen, it's awesome. Excellent match to reader needs. If you don't tell me who's going to read it, like really focus, like, hey, it's Chancellor Hance, and they're this busy, and they're this old, and this is what they're concerned with. They're like tired of being chancellor of just Texas Tech. They want to be chancellor of like some fantastic institution. Okay, so now I understand what's motivating them. What's motivating the Chicken Express? First of all, how old are they?
How old are they?
Yeah.
I would guess 38.
Okay, so what font size do you want to use?
I'm sorry, what?
What, I know I mispronounced that. What font size do you want to use?
I would use 12-point font
Why?
because it's professional and they don't have reading glasses.
Okay, because it's easy for them to read, probably. And they're probably expecting that. Okay, you want to go 13? Okay. Okay, but, and I need to know who they are, like Chicken Express owners. Are they busy, or do they have like an infinite amount of time?
They're busy now that I quit.
Okay, so they probably want something that's easy to skim. Okay, how are you going to format your letter so that it's easy to skim?
Short paragraphs. And-
White space in between paragraphs?
Yes.
Maybe?
I don't know if
No?
that's the style of a letter, but if it is, then yes. I know that's how you do it for a memo, so then yes.
But the point is, because there's two things that I'm asking you to give to me. One is the hypothetical letter that you would hypothetically send to Kent Hans or the owners of Chicken Express or whatever. And the second is a memo to me that explains why you did the things that you did in the letter or memo, right? Like, for example, here's why I used this font. Here's why I did or didn't put this white space in between paragraphs. Here's how I thought about paragraph length. Here's how I thought about the fucking margins. Here's why I use active voice or passive voice. Or here's how I came up with convincing Hans to do the thing that I'm asking him to think about or definitely do. I use this because I thought about it. I mean, you're telling me why you did the things you did, right? So that I can circle things on this form. So, excellent match to reader needs. If I don't know who your fucking reader is, I can't answer that. Like if you tell me, yeah, my reader's like 38 years old and they're really busy and they're motivated by getting new business because they own the business and they want, happy employees and lots of customers. And I appeal to all those things by doing boom, 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 then yeah, I'll circle that because, okay, excellent, awesome. If you don't tell me clearly who you're writing your memo to, or letter, whichever it is, and you're like, I wrote a memo or a letter, I don't know, I flipped a coin, and here it is, then I don't know, does not match reader needs, or no clear specific audience, well, I have to circle that. And this is, see, a 0 failing in that category. This is a 4, awesome, excellent, double thumbs up, right? And here's how I'm going to figure out how to put a number on the project that you hand in. If everything that's circled is in this column, then that's 4, 8, 16, 24, 32. What's 32 divided by 32? 1.000, which is, in percentage terms, is 100% goodness, right? What's less than that? Less than 100%, right? And these are, for this particular project, I don't know, I just decided to call them double. So these are particularly important to be on task with. So does this in any way help your question?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Because here's your real question, I think. This would be my question. I mean, dude, you folks are so... Okay, day 2. Day 2. Get down to brass tacks. Do I need to buy that fucking expensive textbook? Yes or no? No, you don't, unless you want to. Okay, good to know. Second, how do I get 100% credit on this first project with a minimum of time and effort? First of all, understand how it's going to be evaluated. Second of all, start figuring out how to proceed on it with a minimum of time and effort, unless you're that crazy guy, in which case proceed on it with like the most time and effort you can devote. And that's your real question, I think, right? How can I get 100 on this project?
And if it was an appropriate topic,
So that you can get 100.
so yes, so that I could-
Right. And sure, if, and there you go. Awesome. Other questions? Okay, we're back to you.
Oh, no, I was gonna ask you about a second topic that I had, because I had three. So I was gonna ask you whichever one was good. But no, no, I was bored at work. I'm serious. Like, we don't do anything. So,
Well, obviously, I'm bored at work too, so I'm right on your wavelength, man.
But so basically, my other option was to sorry, I have a lot of notes here. I'm just trying to shorten it, sweeten it.
Sure.
To be blunt, like I haven't seen a black teacher here, and I've been here 3.5 years.
Right.
So like I want to know why. So
Right.
that's the second thing that I was going to talk about. Is
Yeah,
why we
here's
don't have diversity.
something.
Yeah. I was actually.
Do you know,
Okay, good.
are you a freshman, sophomore, junior,
I'm
senior?
a junior. Well,
You're junior?
yeah. So it's junior.
Okay. Here's something. What's your major?
Personal finance and legal studies.
Yeah, that department is white on white. So the English department has some classes in African American literature, right? Have you taken any of those classes?
No, sir.
Why not?
Not a part of my degree plan, but I.
Free electives? You got any free elective?
We'll see, I transferred, so a lot of my.
Because I mean, it seems like you're interested in like issues of race and class. So.
Yeah, well, I couldn't because of the way I transferred from a private school. So, yeah.
Right. So you don't have them.
Yeah, I don't have the room.
It sucks for you.
Yeah, it does.
Well, okay, so I was sussing out like what your personal experience might be. So this is going to be a slightly longer answer. The professor of African American literature in the Texas Tech English department is a white dude who's Canadian.
Sips tea.
On the face of it, that seems like re-fucking-calculus, right? He isn't even from this country. Yeah. Tell us more about Martin Luther King. Right. If you get to know him, like if you took a class from him, like if you think I'm orthogonal, you would totally groove on his classes if you could carve out some time. Because here's the thing. He is the blackest white Canadian dude you will ever meet. Seriously. Because he grew up in a family, obviously a white dude. He is the closest you will come. Has anybody seen The Jerk? The Jerk, right? Steve Martin. People familiar with Steve Martin? You know the movie The Jerk? Okay, but you know Steve Martin?
Yes.
Okay. Gray hair, really white. Okay. You should watch the movie. It's a fun, funny movie. But anyway, the movie starts out with, I was born a poor black child. Steve Martin, right? He is, again, he's the closest you will ever come because he was born to a family of jazz musicians that lived in Windsor, Canada, technically Canada, but right across the river from Detroit.
Right.
Now you're getting his context.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's gonna be true.
And because he's white and grew up in that context, he's even, you know,
Yeah,
right?
I know exactly
So,
what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
you might want to carve out 3 credit hours while you still have a chance.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, might look into it.
Right. So, what was your original question?
I know I forgot myself. No, basically, I just wanted to, I was trying
Oh,
to.
right. So, so you could be like, hey, let's start a committee, let's start an initiative, or you could just be like, let's hire more fucking black people.
Right. Well,
Right.
Because my friend.
Which would be easier to write about? Which would be easier to give more examples of that would connect to something that would motivate hands? I'm leaning towards hire more fucking black people.
Right.
Because here's the thing, it's easier to like point to that as a statistic.
Mhm.
Like 2 years ago at Texas Tech, when I started this initiative, we had a white Canadian dude teaching African American studies. What the fuck? Which, again, on paper, if you don't know the deep context, seems kind of fucked up.
Right.
But now, after 2 years, what we got 3 African American professors in the organic chemistry department. Hey, Harvard, how's about you hire me because I can get results, right? Because if you change the Texas Tech culture that much, you're probably a pretty effective administrator. So that would give you something to, like, in a personal letter to Hans, because it's just you writing to Hans. So if you can be that artfully blunt in a letter to Hans, then that would probably be the way to go. As opposed to like, you start a committee initiative. I mean, we know
Yeah.
what usually happens with that.
I was just crossing it with cost of living, and I learned that 2000.
And so here's an even more appealing thing that you could do to Hans, right? Okay, so if you got more, let's say, what would the term be? More people of color. If you got more different professors at Texas Tech, right? In general, this would be it would be better for Texas Tech, blah, blah, blah. It'd be better for the students, blah, 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 blah. It would help your perhaps future career aspirations, blah, 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 blah. And here's how you can do it. Like, if you tell me I should do something, okay, that's great. But how's about you tell me how? That's even better, right? So you could appeal to folks who would otherwise be thinking about going to NYU or Berkeley or any of those other awesome, diverse schools by showcasing what are the strengths of Lubbock. Big jazz community? I'm asking, big jazz community in Lubbock?
No.
Fuck no.
Yeah,
Exactly. No, jazz community, NYU, Berkeley, Texas Tech. So that's off the table. I mean, what does Texas Tech have to appeal to a non-Canadian?
Non-white Canadian.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, who would be the, like, super awesome get for Professor of African American Literature in the Texas Tech English department? Who would be the awesome get?
Morgan Freeman.
Who? No.
What?
Um,
He's a great narrator, though.
Who's at Harvard that teaches that?
I can look it up right quick, just for
You-
conversation's sake.
Who? I know, because it's right there. It's not Kanye West. So, fuck. Yeah, look up Harvard African American Literature Studies. Anybody, come on, quick, let's do it, fast. Because I am aphakic and I don't have this right on my head. Gates, Louis Gates.
Yeah.
Louis Gates, of course, right. So what's going to convince him to come to Lubbock?
How can you convince somebody to come to Lubbock?
Well, there's that.
Sucks.
Well, I mean, you work with what you got. You
Right.
got Lubbock. Is it cheap to live here?
It is.
Give them money.
Okay, so truckload of fucking cash.
That's the only thing.
And they can keep, is there, okay, so they currently teach in Boston. Is there a city income tax in Boston? There is in New York. Like New York takes, depending on which borough you live in, anywhere from 1% to 5% of your income. Yeah, just for the city. And then is there a state income tax in New York or Massachusetts?
Aren't we the only state? We're not the only state that has a state income tax.
No, because there's Arizona and other crazy right-wing states too. By the way, you pay that shit in everything that you buy because
Well, yeah.
it's the sales tax,
Yeah.
right? But you could say to Louis Gates, you could say, hey, Louis Gates, here's the thing. All those crazy income taxes that you're paying in your current awesome gig with your jazz and your cool lifestyle in Boston or Cambridge, yeah, you're going to take a little hit on quality of life, but this boatload of cash that we're like, you're going to keep if you don't buy anything, like 100% of it, because, well, I mean, aside from what the feds take out, right? Maybe you pay them in literal cash. Maybe you make that part of the pitch. In which case you can get around the feds. Gold bullion. But I mean, That's, okay, so that's something. And maybe that's all you got, but you can make that at least a paragraph or 3, a whole section of your letter of like, well, how can you appeal to these people? And then it's a more helpful, informative letter for the audience, right? Which would be excellent match to reader needs. What's adequate match to reader needs? Telling me exactly what you're trying to convince me to think about doing and how it would help me. What's an excellent match to reader needs? Telling me exactly what you want me to think about doing, how it would help me, and how to get started doing it. Thank you. Like, I come into class, and you're like, okay, I've got a memo for you, Dr. Fricke. Your teaching sucks. It needs to be better. And that's the memo. Okay, good to know. Not particularly helpful for me, because how does it suck, and how could making it better benefit me? Even better, how does it suck, how does changing it could benefit me, and what are some very specific things I could do to start working towards that? Like really concrete. Thank you. That is helpful. And is that helpful for an answer? And again, it gets back to like, do whatever, I mean, for you, it's like, do whatever entertains you the most.
Right, yeah.
Right. Much like my teaching this semester. But for other folks, it's probably, the discriminator is probably, discriminator, see, I made a joke there. The discriminator is probably to choose whatever is easiest or fastest or will be most efficient and effective for you, or will match this most clearly.
Or all of the above.
Or all the above. Oh, that would be super awesome. Yeah. And how can you figure out how to like really be on task with that is to like ask a lot of questions. And show me what you're working on. Start working on it ahead of time. And show me. Say like, hey, what, you know, give me some feedback on this. And I will. Because there's eventually in this class going to be loads of in-class work time, and also, especially if you don't have a class after this one. I mean, my next class didn't start till 12. This class officially gets out at, what, 11:20, so do the math, right? So, and 40 minutes is not enough time to do anything like useful for my quality of life, really. So I'm kind of trapped in this room. So take advantage of it. Cool.